At this time, I call regular order meeting to order. Ms. Guzman, can you please lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Roll call.
Governing Board President Ms. Patricia Jimenez.
Present.
Governing Board Vice President Ms. Maria Guzman.
Present.
Governing Board Member Mr. Rudy Santa Cruz.
Present.
Governing Board Member Ms. Maria Hernandez.
Present.
And Governing Board Member Mr. Harry Gerwell.
Present.
Thank you. Now do I have a motion approval of May 15, 2025 regular governing board meeting agenda? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Call for the vote.
Ms. Hernandez, I'll take your purple vote.
It just came up right now. Let me just.
Motion carries. Next, approval of May 1st, 2025 regular governing board meeting minutes with executive session minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion, changes? Hearing none, call for the vote. Motion carries. Next, we have governing board reports. First is myself. I want to welcome everybody for being here. Bienvenidos a todos los que están aquí en asistencia. I just want to thank Mr. Sermon, Mr. Keith for, we, the board, completed our 12 hours of mandatory school board member that we were required under ARS 15-07 to district placement under receivership. It was an eye-opener. Thank you very much for all the information and teaching us how to ask the right questions. So I truly appreciate all the people that came in and the board for, having those Saturdays. I also want to make a statement. I know that on Monday, May 19th, Mr. Kenny will be at the Department of Board of Education, and I've been asked several times about a statement of what do I think about the findings. So we appreciate the receiver's work to put Isaac on a path and a long-term financial stability, and are encouraged that the report of financial improvement plan recognizes the substantial progress that we have made towards achieving that goal. Although the district's assets have constantly exceeded its liabilities and our low income tax base, coupled with the legislative freeze of tax rates, have exposed substantial cash flow challenges to the districts as we have worked to increase teacher pay and maximize student achievement. We need to do a better job of meeting these challenges in the future. We take the receiver's constructive criticism to heart and look forward to finishing the job of securing our district's long-term financial future while fully protecting the Isaac students and our family. So thank you, Mr. Kenny. That's my report. Now we have Ms. Guzman.
Thank you. I just want to welcome everyone for coming here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Mr. Santa Cruz.
I also want to thank everybody for coming. Today I have no report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Mr. Garwell.
Yes, Madam President. Good evening, everybody. As a current board member of the formerly known Fiesta Bowl, I wanted to announce that we've rebranded to be known as the Fiesta Sports Foundation. We've announced our charitable giving. Every year I try to bring this information out, and I know Isaac has put in for some of these grants. And I know some of our teachers have actually gotten awarded for some of the programs that we had, in particular with the Wishes for Teachers. but I always like to announce it so folks can be aware of it and know how they can go and participate in those. So we've got 6 grants that we're awarding, and that'll be Wishes for Teachers, which will be available in the fall of 2025. The charitable grant for nonprofit, that's going to be in the fall of 2025. And then we also do the AED. So, you know, the defibrillators that help you get started if your heart goes out. Last year, I was there at Pendergast when we were able to give those out. And this year, we're going to do 5 districts. And those will be given out on the fall of 2025. And then Community Resource Room. This is one of our largest ones because we do it with a nonprofit, where we actually provide them with a community resource room. And that's going to be awarded in the winter of 2025. And then we do football donations. So we repurpose, you know, the field whenever we have events. And so I know that Isaac actually has received one of those before in the past, as well as the scoreboard from Fiesta Bowl. And this year we're going to be doing that in the spring of 2026. And then the playground build. So we will build a playground. Last year we did one up, I think, in San Carlos Reservation, but this one will be in the spring of 2026. So I'd just like to bring this to the community so we're aware of them, of other opportunities, especially in these difficult times. I also, and thank you, Ms. Jimenez, for bringing this up, wanted to inform the community that on Monday, May the 19th at 9 a.m., JS Held LLC, the receiver for the ID School District, will be presenting their 120-day report and financial improvement plan to the Arizona Department of Education, State Board of Education. And the agenda materials can be viewed at, and I'll leave this information here, and you know, we can put it up on the website, but you can actually review the materials that are up there. And then also I'll provide a link. You want to sit in and watch the proceedings on Monday, the 19th. For that, Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Hernandez.
Good evening. I want to thank everyone who made time to come out this afternoon here to share some important information that we'll be talking about and dealing with today. Also, I want to give a special thanks to Ms. Lima for setting up for financial training that we had these 3 weekends that we had to spend learning about how financial situations work in the school system. I never thought I was going to need a degree to understand this kind of stuff because this is very, very difficult of how all these monies are handled in our district. It's a chain of commands, so many different rules and budgets and just all kinds of stuff. I just had no idea. I'm so sorry that when I became a board member, I was here to be a voice for the community and to support in whatever way I could, but I had no idea that it consists of so much knowledge. And that was something that was just very, very hard, and it's draining for me to understand. My brain was fried every time. Every training we had, I went home with a head this big, just was so much to take in. But it's good to know a lot of that information for future reference and for things that we know that we now know what rules are and what can be and cannot be and what we can ask questions about and things like that. So, you know, hopefully for future reference, it'll be a benefit for us all to have all this knowledge. Again, as we're getting close to the end of the school year as well, too, I want to wish everybody a safe summer. And I know we still have one more meeting after this, but still saying from the heart here, because this is my community, this is my schools. I worked here. I know a lot of you. This is very touching. This is very close to home, all that has happened and everything here. But I do want you to know that I'm 100% in what's best for the community and best that I can be to the best of my ability. So have a safe summer. God bless. And let's see what the future has to bring for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Superintendent Update. Dr. Mesa Lema.
Madam President, members of the board and the ISAC community, thank you for being here tonight.
Morris K. Udall recently celebrated graduation of parents from Mr. Quesada's English class, which is a testament to the power of family engagement. For 2 years, these parents dedicated themselves through building their language skills, leading to job promotions, greater confidence, and a stronger support for their child's learning. Congratulations to all of our parent graduates and Mr. Quesada for this outstanding leadership. As we get towards the end of the school year, there are many great things happening at schools and showcasing of student learning. Today, I proudly recognize our middle school musicians, both MKU and IMS honor bands, and earned a superior with distinction, the highest possible rating at the All-State contest. MKU's beginning band received a superior rating, and IMS's beginning band earned an excellent. Bravo to our very talented music students and music educators. This season is also a time to provide a heartfelt gratitude as we recognize and celebrate our retiring staff members. These individuals have dedicated decades of service to our students, our families, and the schools of the Isaac School District. Their contributions extend beyond instruction or just job titles. They have helped shape the lives of children, strengthened our community, and supported countless colleagues along the way. As they prepare to enter a new and well-deserved chapter of their life, we offer our deepest appreciation for their commitment, compassion, and relentless belief in the power of public education. Their legacy will continue through many lives they have touched. On behalf of the entire district, we thank each retiree tonight for the difference that they have made. May your next chapter be filled with joy, health, and the satisfaction of knowing that your work has left a lasting impact. You will always have a home at Isaac. We have 11 members to celebrate tonight. And for those of you that were able to join us today, when I call your name, please come up to receive a token of appreciation and a red message from your direct superior. Maricela Valencia.
Ms. Valencia, your years of teaching have planted seeds of curiosity, kindness, and confidence in the heart of our countless little learners. You've been the first teacher many children will ever remember, the one who made learning joyful, who turned the classroom into a second home, and who gave hugs, encouragement, and patience without limits. Thank you for your dedication, your creativity, and your love for teaching. You've made a lifelong difference in so many young lives, and your legacy will live on in every smile, story, and song that echoes from your classroom. Wishing you all the best as you begin this exciting new chapter. May it be filled with peace, adventure, and all the happiness you so richly deserve. Congratulations, Ms. Valencia.
Rita Villalobos. Josefina Javier. Blanca Garcia. Ellen Jordan. Robin Johnson. Maria Rodriguez Dominguez. Mari Luis.
Ms. Reese is an exemplary employee who has invested her time, energy, and dedication to our students, staff, and community. She is highly regarded and is loved by all stakeholders, her family, and alumni of PT Co., and she is a current resident in our district. There is no question that she is PT Co. Cobra forever. Congratulations on your retirement.
Martha Gonzalez. David Hutton.
Mr. Hatton, your care for students has always been evident in the way you support their individual needs, recognize their efforts, and create spaces where they feel seen and valued. You've helped students build confidence, pride, and a sense of belonging. A standout example of this is the incredible chess program you developed. Through it, students not only strengthened their critical thinking skills, but also found connection, mentorship, and a true sense of accomplishment. The joy and the community it brought to our campus are a direct reflection of your dedication and heart. You've also contributed greatly to your team through your collaborative spirit and reflective approach to teaching. Your steady presence and student-centered mindset has made a lasting impression. Wishing you the best in this new chapter. May it be filled with rest, joy, and new adventures. Congratulations on your retirement.
Carol Lee.
Tech, do you mind advancing the slide, please, for me? Ms. Lee, your dedication, compassion, and tireless commitment to your students have left a lasting impression on all of us. You've impacted the lives of countless students. Your classroom has always been more than just a place to learn. It's been a safe, welcoming space where students knew they were cared for and valued. You've also been a constant support to your colleagues, a source of wisdom, calm, and inspiration. Though we are sad to see you go, we are also so grateful for the time we've had with you. On behalf of the entire Butler family, thank you, Miss Lee, for everything. We wish you joy, relaxation, and a new adventure in this next chapter of your life. You've more than earned it. Congratulations and enjoy every moment of your retirement. Congratulations.
And at this time, I would like to invite the board for a picture with our retirees. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next is new business information and discussion action. First, cash balance report. Mr. James Sermon, Chief Financial Officer, information. Mr. Sermon?
Madam President, members of the board, I present to you the cash balances as of May 8th. Obviously, another week has gone by. Our overall cash position is a positive $8,574,000. We believe that based on our projections, cash is going to hold up pretty good up through and getting close to the end of June.
Thank
That
you.
concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the governing board? Okay, thank you. Next, we have approval of the financial fiscal year 2025 revised expenditure budget. Mr. Jim Servant, Chief Financial Officer, is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Servant.
So, Madam President, members of the board, just a few key budget basics. Right now, this particular fiscal year, we received over $5,000 for each weighted ADM student. That is our sole source of M&O money to spend for revenues, is the formula. In addition to the formula, the district also received $726,000 for transportation needs. That is a fixed amount, and it pretty much has stayed consistent for several years now. We don't drive enough miles to qualify for the excess mileage allowance, so therefore we just get the standard amount, which has been for years, $726,000. District additional assistance per last year's ADM, we received $549. That goes up every year, but it is based on the prior year's ADM. The classroom site fund this year is $792 per weighted ADM. And in 2026, it's going up $50 to $842 for classroom site fund per weighted student. On the following slide, the key points of the revision of the budget forms this year. Key points are the budget balance carry forward from fiscal year 24 was at this point in time a negative $2,984,000. This is subject to change by the end of the year, and it could go as late as possible October when we file the AFRs. So it's a moving target. It will change. It may go up, may go down. More than likely, the loss will increase somewhat. The budget balance carry forward to 26, we don't know. We don't know the exact amount of what it will end up being. The Prop 123 funding, we received an additional, this is an extra money from the state, $294,000. The other adjustments is we had transferred $400,000 from capital over to M&O to increase the M&O budget. That we ended up losing that in the final budget as well, which I'll get into in the next slide. The district and its originally had projected that we would have a positive $2,500,000 carry forward, and instead we ended up with a net computed loss of $16,243,000. The next slide that I assume is up there is that our unweighted student ADM went from 4,249 to 4,566. So in fact, we got an additional 317 students. The 317 students, when they applied the weight to it to multiply the multiplier, that became 420 students. Then the 420 students times $5,000, which is the amount they fund per ADM, amounted to a $2,715,000 increase to the revenue control limit. So this is all going down a line, if you will, in a linear line. So we picked up some good funding, additional funding in revenue control limit over what was originally put in the budget that was approved in June. The budget balance carry forward, however, they predicted a $1.2 million calculation in their budget, and that amount, of course, changed to $2,984,000 loss. So that was a net loss of budget capacity of $4,184,000. So while we received more students, as we adjusted for what was put on the original budget forms, it amounted to a loss of 4 million. As we moved down, the Prop 123 funding went down slightly, only $5,578, and this is based again on state recomputes. There was the M&O override. It went up 142,000 because our RCL went up. So that was a positive to the budget. Desegregation is unchanged. It remains the same every year. And the DAA transfer was a loss of 400,000 to the budget, the M&O budget capacity. So when we finish the year off with this final budget, essentially our budget capacity, as computed at this point in time, is 1,732,000. I want to point out to the board that the budget computations are not done. Right now, I'm working on filing 21 or 22, 23, and 24 revised AFRs. Each revision in the AFR will reflect all the numbers for adjustments we've made for the overspend of ESSER money. And so filing these forms will allow ADE to start recalculating where we really stand as of the end of this last year. Moving forward, we have better control of the numbers, and we will actually then not have all these adjustments. It is very possible that ADE will also require us to file revised budgets for 22, 23, and 24 before they give us the final calculations based on the Budget 75 reports. Those are the official reports. We have to live by those, and we will have to start off our accounting, so to speak, the starting balances based on what those reports tell us. At this point, we've made some assumptions. We've got some ideas of where this happens. And I want to point out to the board, our auditors have been with us through this whole process. They have gone through each year, 22, 23, and 24, to go through our numbers so that there's no surprises when they do their audit as far as the numbers go. So we're doing this in conjunction with our existing auditors, and as well as input and feedback and advice from ADE school budgets. At this point in time, though, what the board is approving is the best calculated and known budget as of today.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
Not a question, Madam President, just
Guerra?
a couple comments. I think one of the lessons that we learned by going through these sessions on a Saturday was that oftentimes most people don't understand the acronyms. When you say USO, you have AFSR and all those other things, right?
Yes.
So I think it's going to be really important for us as we're moving forward to have those actually spelled out, not only for our board, but also for the community so they can, start to understand it as well. And I think that's another set of eyes that we can have, on our financials. Because if we can educate our community on what these items are and how they work. And I know yesterday we had a very robust conversation about, the way that budgets are set up. And I understand it. You start off high so you can get all the ADM and then you adjust it over a quarter, right? And so the other thing I would suggest is that at some point, and I'm happy to help, and I know you can probably do this, but in other organizations, what we've been able to do to simplify it is to put it into a dashboard, where it's just the upper end parts. So you can look at it very quickly. And then if you want to go and delve into the line item by line item, you can go take a look at them. The other thing is oftentimes we don't understand what percentage of expenditures we already have towards the budget. So for example, if we're in the second quarter of a year and we've already spent 80% of the monies in that line item, we only got 20% left for the remainder of the year. How is that going to impact it? So I think those are very important for us to understand how this works, for nothing else, but just to make sure we stay on track, because I appreciate all of the efforts that are going into this, but I never want to be back in this position again. So just in summary, we could start to put, information out there about the acronyms so that everybody can understand what they are, right? And if we can help to develop a very simplified dashboard that just gives it a high end. I mean, and you know this from our conversation yesterday. I went through line item by line item and actually understood where everything was at, but not everybody does that. So I think that's really important for us to be able to help our community understand and keep us from being in a difficult situation again.
Yes, and it is our plan to give, starting in 26, the board will receive a detailed line item. Not a detail, but an overall summary, like you said, a dashboard that comes out of our accounting system correctly.
Very good. Thank you.
Anybody else have questions? I have a question. So just to clarify, our cash for now we're good, correct? In our cash monies?
Yes.
Okay. So our budget capacity, you mentioned that we are pretty much struggling in $1.7 million. What are we doing to fix our budget capacity?
In reality, at this point, where we are in the year, given the encumbrances that we have, we can't technically fix budget capacity. We can control the amount of the expenses by making sure that we don't issue new purchase orders, no more new encumbrances to the district, and closing out purchase orders as quickly as we can. But basically, the path is already set. We've already spent the money. The year is almost over. The amount of expenditures going out here is fixed now by our commitments due to purchase orders. So there's nothing that really, from a budget capacity, that we can do to make the budget go higher. The budget's by formula. Mr. Kenny?
Yeah, I just want to add to that, basically, what we
Mr.
could
Can
do.
you get closer? Thank you.
Yeah, we've done what we can without hurting the school and stuff there. We walked into something that already, the amount of expenditures were in excess of what they should have been, and going back to, where were we at what time of the year and percentage of how much was spent. That percentage was awfully high by the time end bills hadn't been paid. And prior year bills haven't been paid. So we've had to assume those. And we're stuck in that situation where we've, as you've known, over the last few months, we've done what we can in making reductions in costs and stuff there to try to stay within the budget capacity. When we say within budget capacity, we're talking about our budget capacity is down because of the losses that are carried forward. And that final number may be a little bit even higher than this, which means we have even less money to work with. So if you want to know where we're at right now at this moment, we're probably at, I think last I looked, and we were close to 36 million in M&O spent. If you look at the new capacity, we got 41 million. We probably have $5 to $6 million in payroll left for the rest of the year. There's our capacity. That doesn't include utility bills. That doesn't include operating bills and costs there. That doesn't include what we have to pay out for when people who are coming back for benefits and stuff. So are we going to be over budget capacity? We've done everything. We're doing everything we can to try to stay under, but not likely we'll be over. My expectation is we'll be far less than the 3.9 or 2.9 what we ended up with last year. So we've made an impact in reducing the prior year's things, but there wasn't, it's out of our control by the time we came in to stop the bleeding that had already occurred. That's why the expectation would be to eliminate that next year. And that means the only way you can eliminate that is you have to stay underneath your expenditures. You can't increase income on a budget capacity. Budget is set by a formula. So you've got to spend to that budget capacity that is set, and that budget capacity includes your overspenditures, reduces the amount that you can spend. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, no further questions. Call for the vote. Okay, motion carries. Next is item C, approval of lease agreement between Isaac School District and Steer LLC. Mr. Jim Servin, Chief Financial Officer, is there a motion? Is there a second? Mr. Servin?
You have before you a lease agreement to lease out some space at Estrella Brillantes. We are currently doing business with Steer as an alternative program that we send kids to their location. This is an opportunity for the district to more or less bring the provider to us and receive a fair market-based rate of rent. And in exchange for that, we have them given some seats, meaning so many of our students will be covered by that. In addition to that, it will save us a tremendous amount of money in transportation. We are responsible for transporting the students one way or another, either paying an outside service, paying Steer, or doing it ourselves to take these students to different third-party agencies that are authorized by the state. The most oldest agency that everyone knows is the Arizona School for the Deaf and Blind. We have to transport those students. By this agreement, we're getting a fair market value for the rental. And on top of that, we'll save money for transportation. It will also attract other districts around us to be able to use the STEER program and send some of their students to the program as well to receive services. The goal of the program is to basically get things in good shape with the students, let the students know there's a positive reward, so to speak, for getting it right. And then at that point in time, when everyone agrees, the student then comes back as our student in the district. Obviously, the other district students will return to them, but you never know. Maybe one or two will cross over the line and join the Isaac family.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the board?
Yes, Madam President.
Mr. Guerrero?
Mr. Seaver, I know that, this is a way for us to generate some additional revenue and reduce our costs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, and I think this is a demonstration of, what's being done here in the district in order to right the ship. So I think this is an excellent way of being able to utilize our properties that we have. And we still have other properties, within our portfolio that we can continue to use. I would say that, that's commendable that we're able to do this. And it probably took a lot of effort. And even with the property that we have currently, it may get us another maybe 8 to 10,000 or million, but it's a far reach from, where we need to be at, right? But I just want to acknowledge the fact that, we are making these efforts, and it's not just because we're sitting here talking about it. It's because, everybody's rolled up their sleeves to try to make sure that we can try to, get ourselves into a better situation. Because today I heard something about it's going to take 10 years to get out of this hole. I hope it's not 10 years, and so every effort we have, we should be recognizing that and celebrating it. So I wanted to make sure that the community and all of those that are watching on YouTube understand that this is just one of the efforts that we're making in order to be able to get ourselves in a much better position. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I have two questions. You mentioned this is going to save us money. How much money is it saving us?
In regards to reduced costs, the agreement allows us for, I believe, was it 790 hours? I have to look and see. 700, no, 720 days, 720 days of instructional. The daily rate for that is $200 a day. That would come out to about $144,000 and reduce special needs costs in our STUD program. But in addition to that, the students that we have been sending over to STEER or any other places, the average daily cost is about $400. Is that correct?
I believe you're correct. It is.
I believe it's about
Sometimes
$400
it's a
a
little
day
less.
that the district has to pay to have those kids transferring. Well, being in the district here, we don't have to pay that cost if we can deliver the kids ourselves and stuff right here. So that dollar hasn't been monetized yet and stuff there because it depends on how many students and how many days and stuff that we would have to pay. But right now, we're paying about that to send the students to the different programs that we need to send them to.
So do we know how many students now, and we're gonna know how many more students are gonna be for the next fiscal year?
Do we know how many students we
Yeah,
send
like-
out now?
Like, yes.
Uh, I'm not, have somebody here from the district to tell you, but I mean, my understanding, do you know? There we go.
So it depends on the need, and our students based on the need, and they can go in and out as needed. It's a private placement that oftentimes is only temporary until they're able to come back from school.
But I believe it's over 10 students out on an average month. I mean, it's pretty much, it's quite high. It's pretty costly program.
And then the other question that I have, because I know they're gonna be using the facility over Estrella Brillantes, and we have our kids, students, are we gonna make sure that these, the new tenants have, fingerprints?
Yes, they do. They are recognized by the state of Arizona as being a facility that we can enter into agreements with.
Okay. Thank you. Call for the vote. Okay, motion carries. Next, we have approval of new administrative staff promotion, Ms. Silvia Carizosa, Executive Director of Employee Relations. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Carizosa?
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Lilly, and Isaac community members. I'd like to begin by sharing that the principal interview process was a rigorous multi-step selection that began with a thorough screening of all applicants. 7 candidates advanced to round 1, which included a district interview, a school site interview, and a data presentation. A diverse committee panel evaluated candidates at each stage of this process. The top performers moved on to the final round. This comprehensive and vetted process led to the selection of the 2 candidates whom we proudly present today for the governing board approval. With that said, the first one, it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Erica Scribner, a seasoned and passionate educational leader with over 15 years of experience in the K-12 education. Currently, she is serving as the assistant principal in the Isaac School District here at Isaac Middle School. Ms. Scribner brings a deep commitment to students' success, instructional excellence, and community engagement. She has a proven track record in school leadership, including curriculum development, restorative discipline practices, data-driven decision-making, and fostering a positive campus culture. Her recognition here as an Administrator of the Year in 2023 underscores her impact and dedication. Ms. Scribner's collaborative leadership style and strategic vision makes her an outstanding candidate to lead our middle school forward. Based on the outcome of the interview process, we recommend approving Ms. Scribner for this position.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Not a question, Madam President, but just an
Mr. Garwell?
acknowledgement. Yep. So Mrs. Scribner, congratulations, because of your time, within the Isaac School District, but even more so your experience at Carl Hayden. When I was on the board previously, and Carl Hayden was with my school. And so I knew, some of the challenges that were there, but also the great opportunities that were there. So I think these two, experiences have really prepared you well to stay within the culture, to understand our community and understand, what our students are looking for. And I think that you have built a great relationship with our parents. So again, I'm looking forward to you serving in this other capacity.
Thank you. Call for, not further questions, call for the vote. Okay, motion carries, and I believe Ms. Scribner is virtually.
Yeah, we had her on call just in
Congratulations.
case, so we will check. Are we able to get her online? Ms. Scribner?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, yes. I apologize for my physical absence this evening. I am traveling out of state with my husband. But with that said, Madam President, members of the governing board, Dr. Mesa Lima, and Isaac community, it is my great honor to step into the role of principal at Isaac Middle School. Over the last 12 years working in this neighborhood, I have had the privilege of seeing the transformation of IMS under the leadership of Kevin Sotomayor, who has had a profound impact on the positive trajectory of our school and who has been an amazing mentor for me. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to continue the great work of cultivating academic and social excellence, not just among our student learners, but our adult learners as well, myself included. I want to thank our amazing staff who show up and show out every day for our kids and for each other. I am so thrilled to continue working alongside our wonderful families who have been continuous partners in the growth of our students and who we honor as our students' first teachers. I also want to take a moment to thank my own first teachers, my parents, Brian and Mary, who I know are also tuning in virtually tonight. While the road ahead may present challenges, it is also full of opportunities for learning, growth, and creativity, and there is no better team to start this next chapter with than our amazing IMS family. So it is my honor, my privilege, and my duty to continue building our IMS legacy of victory together. Thank you so much.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Next, we have item E, approval of new administrative hire, Ms. Silvia Carizosa, Executive Director of Employee Relations. Is there a motion? There a second?
Second.
Ms. Carizosa?
Good evening again, Madam President, governing board members, Dr. Lily and Isaac community. It's my pleasure to introduce and share about Mr. Benny Rodriguez, an educator with over 31 years of experience in public education, including 21 years as a secondary principal and a K-12 campus director. A passionate leader, Mr. Rodriguez has consistently led schools to achieve academic excellence, cultural transformation, and operational efficiency. His work is grounded in a commitment to student success, inclusive school environments, and community engagement. Mr. Rodriguez is widely recognized for his leadership in school improvement, instructional innovation, and cultivating inclusive and high-performing school cultures. Based on the outcome of the interview process, we recommend Mr. Rodriguez for this position.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yeah,
Hearing-
Madam.
Mr. Gerwell?
So Ms. Carizosa, I know that you briefly touched on the interviewing process, so can you give me a timeline on the first round of interviews and, who participated on those?
Absolutely. So the timeline, Mr. Gerwell, or Madam President and board members, in regards to dates or
Yeah,
okay, sure. Stage 1 started April 9th. Stage 2, which, let me go back. April 9th was when our vacancies were posted. April 29th through May 1st is when we did the application screening. May 6th was stage 3, which included what I shared before, the school interview panel, the district interview panel, and then the data panel. Then May 8th was stage 4, the final round.
Okay, and can you explain the process on the final round on May the 8th?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your
Yeah, I
question?
know this is a
It's just hard
terrible
to
place to
hear.
have a meeting because you can't hear
the
anything.
echo.
Again, can you explain to me the process on May the 8th for the second round?
Absolutely. The final process, May 8th, included Dr. Mesa Lema, myself, HR representative, that concluded the final round, that again engaged with a piece of the interview process. That was the final round, again, similar to the interview panel, but that consisted of Dr. Lily Mesa and myself.
Okay. Was there also a stakeholder panel that was put together?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that stakeholder panel?
The purpose was, as indicated and shared with the committee there are different stages of the interview committee. And so, as I stated, there's a school interview panel that was one piece of the pie, really respectively, the district interview panel, and then the data panel. So from all those three rounds then dictated who would move on to the final round, stage 4. So I hope I answered your question, but if not, I'm happy if you ask the question and I can respond accordingly.
Okay. And from if my memory serves correctly, it's typically the stakeholder panel makes recommendations and forwards them on to the final decision makers. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Garwal.
Okay. And how many of the candidates were recommended by the stakeholder panel?
How many candidates were recommended for stage 4? The 5 that went on to stage 4.
So all of the candidates or all of the candidates were placed on a recommendation from the panel?
So you're asking how many of those individuals that were on that stage 3 moved on to stage 4?
No, what I'm asking is that, we have a stakeholder panel that has been asked to give input, right?
Sure.
And these are the folks that are typically on the ground.
Yes, sir, I'm following.
Okay, and so as a result of that, what I understand is that, they make a recommendation as to who they believe might be a better candidate, for that position, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, they must have given you at least 2 or 3.
I cannot speak directly to that. I wasn't involved in that level, but what happens is they rate the candidate. Obviously, I know the process. I wasn't involved, but they rate the process. They do the scoring. They do go around respectfully, and to maintain the integrity of the interview process. Obviously, I'm not going to go through the details, which I know you're not asking, but yes, they base the responses of the candidate, they score it, and based on the scores, they do go around and make the recommendation. From there, then they take it to the next level of the data presentation, and then, as I stated, the district interview panel. So yes, they do make recommendations according to the scoring.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always a little hesitant, because when we have these panels and we have community members that are involved, typically they have a better understanding of what the culture is, what's needed in a particular school. And I know that Pueblo del Sol has got a very strong culture. We probably have some of the most veteran teachers in the district, and sometimes it can be a little hard-headed. And I understand that because they went through a pretty significant experience with the previous principal there. And so I want to make sure that, whoever goes there understands that, first of all. Second of all, that they understand our community, they understand the culture, and they understand our kids. And I bring that up because as I'm looking at Mr. Rodriguez's resume, his last employment was at a charter school that had, 589 students in K-11. That's not a big representation of, and then before that, he was at Buckeye Union, and then before that, he was in Benson. So none of those really are in the same, kind of culture that we're accustomed to here at Isaac. So I'm a little concerned about that, because I want to make sure we're not setting anybody up for failure, And so I want to bring these things up, but I'd like to hear from the other board members also what their thoughts about this, because again, this is going to be one of the critical, spots that we fill. And I can say just from, the past experience of being on this board the last, 6 years, Pueblo is going to be a challenge, just like Isaac was for a while and still is sometimes. But at the same time, I don't think that, they're waiting for a savior to come in on a white charger either. So I'd like to hear from the rest of my colleagues on what their feelings are about, this candidate.
Madam President?
Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, I'd like to see if we could table this and have it for more discussion.
There's already a motion and a second right now.
And it can be tabled so we can go into more discussion.
We have to vote on what we have now on the floor.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I asked if we can table this to go into more discussion about it. Because I don't understand all these different levels of.
Well, one of our, as a board members, I know there's a process and you know, it's confidential to find out who the candidates are, but I do trust, we've been having this process for a long time and the committees and people involved, so I truly trust the process and how it was done, in my opinion. Ms. Dr. Lilly?
Madam President, members of the board. So what we bring to you today is a recommendation. The rigorous process was in place and took into consideration, of course, the site level panel interview. However, they were not the only ones. There were 3 different rounds, and through those different rounds, highly rigorous process took place. And given the candidate's experience and taking into account not only the needs of Pueblo, but also our long-term plan for student achievement and the rebuilding that needs to take place, I bring to you the recommendation to hire Benny Rodriguez as the principal for Pueblo del Sol.
Okay, then no
hold
further
on,
call
hold
for the vote.
Hold on, I heard Mr. Hernandez say about table, so Mr. Hernandez to do that. all
There's
you have to-
a call for the vote.
No, you can't cut it off. The
I
discussion is
I
still
would
going.
like to have it tabled if I can, if anybody
I
will
second. So
Well,
there's a
there's
motion and a second to
there's already a
table.
motion and a second on the floor. So we would have to do the first motion and the second because we already have it on the floor.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
We already have a first and a second on the floor. And I already called.
You can table an item anytime during the meeting, and there is no discussion when that motion is
Okay,
made.
so do you want Ms. Lluvia Perea?
You can look it
So
up
we
in our.
just have to have the majority. So they want a table for the motion and the second, so you would have to have the majority too, and then we will go back to the original.
Madam President, in order to table the motion, it must be seconded and there must be a majority.
Okay,
You
so.
might want to go back and take a look at our.
Can you repeat,
Mrs. Jimenez-
what
Mrs.
Ms.
Jimenez?
Hernandez said? And then, can you repeat the motion of how she wants to table it and Mr. Guerrero second it, and then can you do verbal vote?
Madam President, at this time, I have removed the original motion. Will the board proceed with tabling this item?
Ma-
How would the board like to proceed?
So, Ms.
Madam-
Hernandez, since you mentioned it, can you
Madam
present it?
President, let me
Mr. Guerrero?
finish because, this is a point of order.
I can't hear you, Mr. Guerrero.
I know, that's why the problem. So if we go back to our Isaac's policies, and you're one about policies, which you've always said, I believe that we're here for policy. If you go to our policy, BEDD, which is the rules of order, it specifically states on there, a motion to table is an order at any time. Such a motion requires a second and is limited to being considered only once on a given agenda item. No discussion is in order.
Okay, so right now there's a motion, then just take it to table it, and now we're gonna call for the vote to
Nope,
see if it's
Nope,
gonna
there's
pass.
no discussion, there's no vote. It's a motion to table, and that ends the conversation.
Ms. Karen, Ms. Madea, can we clarify? What's on the floor?
Madam President, please let me know how to proceed.
No, just clarify what's on the floor so we could just proceed.
So currently on the floor, we have Ms. Maria Hernandez made a request to table this agenda item for the next meeting. And Mr. Gerwell, Mr. Harry Gerwell has made a second to table this agenda item for the next meeting as well. At this time, I'll take verbal votes from each member.
Well, we're not gonna, vote on it.
Okay,
Well,
so
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to protest this because in our.
We're not gonna be,
policy-
we're gonna be tabling it, Mr. Guerrero.
so
we're
this
not gonna do
agenda
a verbal
item will
vote.
be tabled for the next.
Okay, sorry, I can't hear anything.
I know
on the
it's
flip,
difficult.
Okay. So what are we doing? I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'm not.
So we'll proceed with the agenda, Madam President, and in the minutes, it will be referenced that this agenda item was tabled.
For, till the next board meeting. Okay, all right, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
What's gonna be to our further meeting, because when's our next board meeting coming up?
Madam President, we have a board meeting, a special governing board meeting scheduled for next Thursday, the 22nd. The agenda is yet to be reviewed and finalized, but that is something that you can definitely discuss with Dr. Lilly.
Thank you. So we're gonna proceeding to the next item, which is approval of FY 2025-2026 Governing Board Regular Meeting Schedule. Dr. Lily Mesalema, Interim Superintendent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, Dr. Mesalema.
Madam President, members of the board, ISAC community, this evening I present to you for your consideration and approval the proposed governing board meeting calendar for the 2025-2026 school year. This calendar outlines the regular meeting dates for the board from July 2025 through June 2026, ensuring alignment with district operational needs, legal requirements for posting the notice, and key planning cycles such as budget adoptions, staffing decisions, and academic reporting timelines. The proposed calendar, to the greatest extent possible, maintains our current practice of holding regular board meetings on the second Thursday of each month, with additional meetings scheduled as needed for key milestones, including budget adoptions and strategic planning. I respectfully request the board's consideration and approval for the 2025-2026 governing board calendar meeting.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions on the calendar? Hearing none, call for the vote. Call for the vote. Ms. Andrea, did it go? Call for the vote for the calendar?
Madam President, I apologize. We're having a little bit of technical issues. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is receive, discuss, take action concerning school closure, PTCO Elementary School and Moya Elementary School, and potential boundary changes. Dr. Lily Mesalema, Interim Superintendent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Dr. Mesalema.
Madam President, members of the board, the ISAC community, with deep respect for the significance of this moment and the communities impacted, I bring to you tonight for final consideration and approval the recommendation to close PTCO Elementary School and Moya Elementary School and to approve a redesign of our school district's boundary maps. This recommendation is being brought forward under the authority of the receiver and as part of the district's mandated financial adjustments and right-sizing efforts. Efforts that are critical in addressing the severe financial challenges we face and that are necessary to place the ISAC School District back on a state of financial footing. The decision before us is the most difficult we have had to confront in recent years. Closing schools is not simply about reallocating buildings or rebalancing budgets. You've heard me say it before. It's about people, it's about the families, and it's about the futures. We recognize that these schools are not just facilities. They are places for deep meaning with roots in our community, histories that span generations, and ties that go beyond education. The recommendation to close these two schools and to adjust our boundaries is grounded in hard realities. First, the need to eliminate debt and bring expenditures in line with revenue to keep our district operational. Secondly, a significant and continued decline in student enrollment paired with a level of state funding to public education that is among the lowest in the nation in per pupil spending. We are not alone in these challenges. Many school districts across the state and nation, especially those in urban core communities, are being faced with similar realities when it comes to decrease in enrollment and appropriate levels of funding. but acknowledging that reality does not make this process easier. It does not lessen the weight of what we are asking the board to consider tonight. For Isaac, the need to right size is not new, but the action is long overdue. Adjustments should have been made sooner, and what we're doing now is a necessary course correction to close the gap between our current financial condition and the structure in a structure that we can sustain. Our facilities currently exceed what we can possibly operate and maintain. Every square foot of building space carry costs, utilities, upkeep, staffing that are that take away from resources that should be directed to our students. Throughout the past several months, we have taken deliberate steps to be transparent and engage with our community. We held community chats, presented updates to the governing board meetings, and made all related data and rationales publicly available on the district website. These conversations have centered on the difficult truths of our financial state, the enrollment trends impacting our viability, and the operations we explored in coming to this recommendation. Sadly, and despite previous difficult actions and financial adjustments, such as the workforce reduction and program adjustments, those efforts alone have not been sufficient to restore our financial stability. We are now faced with a critical question. How do we function more effectively and within our financial means to preserve the future of our district? The answer, though painful, is clear. We must right size. This means realigning our resources to match our current reality, consolidating our footprint to operate efficiently, and redirecting our limited dollars to where they are most needed, into classrooms, into students, and into the future of our schools. We recognize the deep emotional toll this will have, especially on the students' families and staff from PTCO and Moya. We honor their legacy and assure you that we're committed to serving the students and families from PTCO and Moya, even as their physical school may change. Our commitment to them does not. We will continue to work hard to ensure all students feel loved, supported, and challenged with the high-quality instruction they deserve. Tonight, we respectfully request the board's approval for the closure of PTCO and Moya Elementary School and of the new school boundary map as part of the necessary steps to right-size our district and begin the path toward financial recovery and long-term sustainability.
Thank you. As you know, we touched the space before and we had several meetings on this, but now does the board have any questions before we go for vote?
Madam President,
Mr. Gallo.
question or clarification. So, Dr. Mesa Lema, in all of the presentations that have been made to the community in public settings, it was always the motion that we were going to take was to shut down or close PTCO and Moya Elementary School and the online academy. Where is the online academy? Why it's not listed on here?
Mr. Garwell,
Go ahead. I was gonna say the same thing, but
the online academy is a program within our district. It is not considered a brick and mortar school.
so basically, we're not going to continue the program. The program ends at the end of the year. It's not, we don't have to close anything. We're just not gonna have the program available next year.
Okay, so it's just a program, but I think that was a little misleading to the community because we always included online academy at all the presentations. So now that, you know, the clarification for the community to understand is that this is a program, and this program was very, very pricey, if I remember correctly.
I don't recall it being in the presentation of the closing of the schools, but I will defer that to Dr. Mesa Lena.
Mr. Garwell, the online program was not part of the presentations when we spoke about closure of the schools.
Okay, well, we'll go back and take a look at those. So it is a program that's gonna be discontinued. Mr. Kenny, since you're the
Yes,
receiver.
yes. The decision was to not continue the program because the program didn't have sufficient students to enroll to cover the costs of the program, and the district was losing about $400,000. Basically, the MNO was having to support the school, and in my opinion, taking those dollars to distribute to a very limited number of kids, as opposed to using those dollars for the advantage of the kids that are in class, which are a lot greater, was not fair, and was costing the district a lot of money. But we can bring those dollars back into the classroom.
Okay.
To
One
be-
more question, Madam President.
Does anybody else have any final comments? Okay, at this time, we're gonna do a verbal vote. We'll be taking, for the voting.
At this time, I will now take verbal votes. Ms. Governing Board President, Ms. Patricia Jimenez.
Thank you. Before I vote, I just want to explain my decision regarding the proposed closure of our schools. We have all been aware of our district's declining enrollment and resulting the need to reduce staff. Like many other districts, we have faced difficult financial realities, and it was clear that the school closures might eventually become necessary. Over my years in serving at Isaac, I believe the majority of the board has made many positive contributions to our community. However, I want to personally apologize to our students, our staff, and the entire community for the financial hardship we are now facing. Our biggest mistake was trusting that the administration was fully managing these issues. In looking back, we should have provided more oversight. Despite of these challenges, the majority of the board is committing to getting Isaac out of receivership and back on solid footing. We are determined to fix the situation and restore stability to our district. I want to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to the receiver for his dedication and hard work in helping us through these difficult times. His efforts have been immeasurable. We navigate these extraordinary challenges. Even though my vote may ultimately be overwritten by the receiver, I must vote no on closing the schools at this time. I believe now is not the right moment for such drastic steps. Instead, I think we should first explore other options, such as ongoing out for a bond to pay off our debt. We cannot allow private schools to come in and take away our public schools, which are the heart of our community. The recent failure of HB 2640 has made it very more important for us to stand together and protect the district's future. Our schools belong to our community, and I am committed to fighting for them. While I deeply thankful for the receiver's work and guidance, I must vote my conscience, and I do believe it is the best for our students and our staff, and I vote no on closing PTCO and Moya.
Governing Board Vice President, Ms. Maria Guzman.
Thank you. I also would like to explain my vote. This seat is a volunteer position. We don't get paid to do this. But when I'm not sitting here, I am a parent. I had 7 children and 3 grandkids that were students in this district. I understand we're all hurting, some more than others. I was debating whether to talk or not. I still have one 8th grader here that has been through a lot with everything going on. He won't even promote with his classmates or friends. Sad to say, because of all the fakeness in the schools, principals, and teachers and leaders that I thought were mentors, friends, and some family. I've been in this community. I've been a community member for more than 20 years in this district. And I'm also a taxpayer because I own my home. I don't rent or I don't live with someone. So my heart tells me to vote no. Thank you.
Governing Board Member, Mr. Rudy Santa Cruz.
Thank you. My family's been in the district since 1952. That's a long time. So my heart is really into the district, and it's very difficult for me. I still have family members. Their kids are still going to school. And in my heart, I just cannot accept it. So my vote is no.
Governing Board Member, Ms. Maria Hernandez.
Thank you. I want to share a little bit as well. I have about close to 20 years living in this district. I moved from Tempe District out to this community, and I have been an employee. I'm an ex-employee of this district. I have my grandchildren that attended this district, great-grandchildren that are attending now, and I have great nieces and nephews that are in this district. And a lot of them were at PT Cole. I vote no.
Governing Board Member, Mr. Harry Garwell.
I understand the emotion of what we're going through here. So let me give you a little historical perspective here. Previously, in 2011, 2012, under the leadership of Dr. Bejarano, we were facing the same situation, declining enrollment. We were in a position where financially we were going to be on the verge of bankruptcy. And that's exactly what I told the former superintendent in 2018 before I ran for this board, that we were sitting on the verge of bankruptcy. So this was not the first time that the Isaac Elementary School District has found itself in a financial situation, but the previous superintendent in 2011-12 had the understanding that if he didn't take that action, and that board, by the way, has members of this same board on there, then the financial crisis would have occurred in 2012, 2013, maybe 2014. Instead, it started to occur in 2015. If you read the receiver's report, it goes back to 2015. So as much as I would love to keep these schools open, let me just say this to you, and let me say this to your parents, to you parents. We have a choice. If we do not close these schools and we keep paying for an operation that is being underutilized, I guarantee you, we may not make that last payment to the teachers at the end of the school year. So we have a choice today. Either that we take this and we go ahead and we close these schools, which doesn't seem that we're going to be doing that. But I will say this as well. Two things. Number one, I am very fearful of the outcome and what's going to happen here over the next couple of weeks, a month. Because right now, we're looking at our financial situation. So if you keep the schools running, you keep the staff there, and you do all those things, that's that cost that's going on there. The only reason we're looking at this is to save the district. Let me repeat that. It's to save the district. So the last time I went through this with Isaac, this was my question I asked the audience. Is it about brick and mortar, or is it about our kids? I choose our kids because I want my two grandchildren that are still here to be able to be here and stay in the school district and not have to worry about transferring out because we shut the entire district down. And on another point, we keep talking about a bond. Let me tell you guys something. This is my world. I do commercial development. I'm the one that introduced the program to go out and start to sell these properties in 2021, 2022. I can assure you right now that trying to pass a bond in this district, good luck with that. And then, Mr. Seaver, if you could give us the timelines, because now we're talking about running a bond, and I know we had this conversation. When would that bond be on the ballot, and when would it be issued?
The bond, if it's approved by the board based on the presentation that will occur next week, it would be on the November ballot. From that point, the earliest time that there could be a bond sale is probably around May of the following year. The funds would not be available for several months after that. So basically, you're looking at 2027 before you have the bond money in place. And the bonds obviously have to be repaid. That money would the payments on those bonds would start right away and the interest accrual. If we go for a bond, it more than likely it will be at a higher interest rate. It is not subject to being non-taxable bonds. So the interest rate at that point in time could be anywhere from, on the low side, probably 6.5, but more likely 8%, around 8%. We'll find out next week at the meeting.
Okay, so let me just make a final point here. We run a bond, we don't even see the money till next year. We're gonna pay more money on the interest in order to go out and run it, and I think the number may be $4 million. Is that what would be, our capacity for a bond?
That would be based on the discussions next week. The amount of the bond would vary from a number of factors, and the people that know that business of selling bonds and stuff will be here next meeting, we believe.
Okay.
They're working on it now,
Okay, thank you. Can
the
we
scenarios.
please have your vote, Mr. Garrow?
I'm sorry?
Can we please have your vote? Are you done
No,
with your
we're still
comment?
having discussions. Madam
But we're-
President, you
we're-
cannot shut off.
Mr. Garrow, right
discussion.
now we're making a vote and you're doing your final comments to
Okay, my
vote.
final comments is this to the community and to those that are seated here and everybody to listen, okay? First of all, the probability of running a bond is 0. The other thing is, if you own property in this community like I do for the last 54 years, your secondary property rate's gonna go up. Right now, we are one of the highest tax districts in the state of Arizona. We're close to 8%. And now you're gonna put on top of that another secondary tax. I've sat through these things forever with the city of Phoenix, where we did 600, 900 million. When we did Phoenix Union, we did $400 million. And we never impacted the secondary rate on our communities because we had a great bond rating. We had a AA rating. That's not gonna happen. So Madam President, my vote is to shut them down in order for us to save our school district.
Okay, thank you. Can you give Mr. Keith?
So Madam President, as the receiver and with the authority that's been granted to me under Arizona Statute 15-103, I am going to override the board's decision based on my opinion that the board is being fiscally irresponsible. And so in order to complete my duties, I have to override the board.
Thank you.
Madam President, I would like to make another point that, and if we're done with this subject at this point, earlier tonight, there was a motion to table an
Mr.
item, and Robert's rules specifically state to make a motion to table. Any member can make a motion, lay on the table with any motion. Requires a second motion, needs a second from another member. It's non-debatable. There is non-debatable allowed motion on the table, but a majority vote of the motion requires a majority vote for it to be adopted. So we've never completed that transaction. I think we also heard from your attorney, Clyde, and said he's in agreement that there has to be a completion of that item. So there's been a motion, there's been a second. I believe the board must take a vote on that in order for that to take action.
Correct. Yes. You said you got from our attorney, Clyde,
Yes,
just to clarify.
yes. Your attorney Clyde emailed, texted Mr. Serban and said that yes, the vote has to take place.
So I was correct from the first time. Thank you very much. So
quick question, Madam President.
at this time, just to believe, because I want to follow the policies. I want to make sure that we this item, the receive, discuss, take action concerning school closures, PTCO Elementary School and Moya Elementary, potential boundary changes. Dr. Lily Mesa Lima, interim superintendent. The receiver has overridden Patricia Jimenez vote, Maria Guzman's vote, Rudy Santa Cruz vote, and also Maria Hernandez vote, correct? So this to close the schools has passed. So at this time, we are going to be going back to the item, and Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, um, E, which there was already a motion on the floor and a second. So right now, call for the vote. No more further discussion. Call for the vote.
Madam President, may the motions be repeated, please?
I'm sorry? Well, we had a motion previously. Can you check who made the motion, who the second, and now we're just voting on that item?
The initial motion was deleted due to,
Okay, now can I have a motion and a second to approve the new administrator staff hire, for Pueblo del Sol, correct? So can I make a motion and a second? Do I have a motion and a second for item E?
So moved.
So you second it? Who made that motion? So right now, we're going back per the receiver to item E. Approval of new administration staff hire, Ms. Silvia Carizosa, for the principal at Pueblo del Sol. So is there a motion and is there a second?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, call for the vote. No further discussion.
Madam President, the vote that the board is taking right now is on deciding whether or not to table item E on the agenda.
Yeah. I think there was a misunderstanding. Yeah, there was a motion to table and there was a second to table. At that point, I believe the board does nothing else but take a vote on whether to table or not. If the board chooses to table, majority wins, then the item is tabled. If not, you continue on the
Correct.
discussion.
So does the board understand what's happening? So right now, because Mr. Hernandez made a motion to table item E and there was a second. So right now we have to vote if we want to table that item. So right now we're voting if we want to table that item. So that you have your screen for
Okay.
clarification.
I voted incorrectly, so I don't know if they can take that back, because,
Oh, yeah. Can you do a verbal vote, please?
yeah, that'll be better.
and just for clarification, this is to table.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Governing Board President, Ms. Patricia Jimenez.
No.
Governing Board Vice President, Ms. Maria Guzman.
No.
Governing Board Member, Mr. Rudy Santa Cruz.
No.
Governing Board Member, Ms. Maria Hernandez.
Yes.
Governing Board Member, Mr. Harry Gerwell.
Yes.
Madam President, the motion does not carry.
Okay, so now we go back to the original motion, correct?
That is correct.
And you mentioned you wanted for us to have a second and a first because you raised it.
Yeah, now you have to go back and make a decision on the action item there. So it opens up for discussion, and then there's a call for the vote on whether to
Correct.
pass whatever the motion is, the action is.
So now, do I have a motion to approve the new administrator staff hire, Ms. Silvia Carizosa, Executive Director for Pueblo del Sol, Principal? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, now call for the vote. Okay, some motion carries. So Mr. Benny Rodriguez, is he here today? Ms. Benny Rodriguez,
I'm sorry, Madam
congratulations.
President. Did we take the vote on that? Because I didn't vote. I
It's,
voted on the tabling.
There was a motion for the table. That motion did not carry. Therefore, the motion was then presented to approve the new administrative staff hire.
Okay, gotcha. I can't hear anything here. It's terrible in here. All right, thank you. I see the vote up there now.
hey, Mr. Rodriguez, It's here. Congratulations. Would you like to come and say something? Thank you.
Madam President Jimenez, members of the board, Dr. Mesa Lema, and Isaac community, my name is Benny Rodriguez. And as you mentioned, I'm in my third decade of education. I grew up in this area. My dad was a teacher, and what's amazing in 30 years of what you do, was looking at how I finished my career. And what was important to me is to have an opportunity just like this to be in a community that I started out in as a kid. So I really appreciate what you do. Deep respect for governing board members in my 30 years of education. And it's an honor to be able to have an opportunity to serve and support in a school community where I grew up. So I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, and we apologize, and I truly, welcome to the Isaac family. Thank you. So at this time, do I have approval of the whole consent agenda? No, consent. Yeah. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, we don't have discussion. Call for the vote. Okay, motion carries. Next, we have call to the public. Ms. Perea?
Madam President, this evening we have a few requests to address the governing board. As a reminder to the public, personal attacks upon board members, staff personnel, or other persons in attendance or absent by individuals who address the board are discouraged. Presenters are cautioned that statements or representations concerning others that convey an unjustly unfavorable impression may subject the presenter to civil action for defamation. Policies KE, KEB, KEC, and KED are provided by the board for disposition of legitimate complaints, including those involving individuals. Upon conclusion of the open call to the public, individual members of the board may respond to any criticism made by an individual who has addressed the board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. First, we have Gina Cruz Dabo. First, we have Gina Cruz. Jose Arenas. Gary Glay. Alma Marcela. Alma Marcela. Esmeralda Castro.
Buenas tardes, miembros de la mesa directiva. Mi nombre es Esmeralda. Tengo una niña de 9 años en Pueblo del Sol. Actualmente estoy feliz y tranquila, a pesar de todas las cosas que han pasado últimamente. Sin embargo, disculpe, no es nada personal, pero estoy aquí esta noche no solo como madre, sino como una voz de la comunidad de Pueblo del Sol. Una comunidad profundamente decepcionada y preocupada por la reciente decisión sobre quién será nuestro próximo director. Déjeme ser muy claro, eso no solo es un cargo, esto se trata de nuestros hijos, se trata de la confianza que tanto nos ha costado reconstruir después de años de inestabilidad. Se trata de mantener a un líder que ya entiende el corazón de nuestra escuela, y estoy hablando del señor Flores. Hace 2 años nuestra escuela pasó por momentos muy difíciles bajo una dirección que no cumplía con las necesidades de nuestros estudiantes, familias y el personal. Cuando llegó la señora Cohen, trajo sanación, trajo visión y trajo respeto. Y a su lado, desde el principio, siempre estuvo el señor Flores, su subdirector, el mentor de nuestros hijos y un puente entre familias y el personal. Ahora que la señora Cohen se va, lo más lógico y natural sería en su lugar a quien entiende los valores de nuestros hijos, su cultura, nuestros retos y que ha ganado la confianza de todos en el plantel. Y estoy hablando del señor Flores. Él no solo está calificado, es querido y es respetado, tanto por los estudiantes como por nosotros. Todos lo admiramos. El personal también confía en él y las familias lo apoyamos. Y aún así, pues el distrito eligió a otra persona. Esta decisión se siente como un retroceso, como otro momento en que las voces más cercanas a los salones de los padres, los maestros, los estudiantes son ignoradas. Exigimos transparencia con respeto. Pedimos que reconsideren esta decisión y que recuerden que la escuela no solo se construye con currículums, se construye con relaciones, con respeto y con la confianza de nuestra comunidad. El señor Flores ya representa todo eso. Por favor, escuchen a quien estamos viviendo esto todos los días. Gracias. Nosotros confiamos en que se tome una buena decisión, aunque vemos que ya se tomó. Pero yo he visto cómo el señor Flores es un amigo de nuestros hijos. Tiene muchos valores, es empático con nuestros hijos y es una persona muy humilde. Gracias.
Gracias. Do we have anybody else? Do we have more people?
Mark Camarena.
Madam President, members of the board, I stand before you all here as a representative of the community. I am a local organizer working in the areas of Moya and PTCO, and I disagree with the decision to close these schools. Tonight, we stand at a crossroads for our children's future. They are shutting down our schools. 5 schools in Roosevelt have already gotten the axe. Maxino Bush, John R. Davis, C.J. Jorgensen, V.H. Lassen, and MLK Jr. And now P.T. Coe and Moya Elementary are gone as well. These aren't just buildings to lease. These are our neighborhoods. These are our kids' second homes. These are the hearts of our communities for generations, and they're being boarded up because bureaucrats and politicians claim there's no money. No money. Arizona is one of the top 20 richest states in the richest country on earth. But they're telling us to accept starving schools and jam-packed classrooms while millions get funneled to private academies and charter schools. This is a war on public education. This is a war on the working class, the Black and brown communities of Phoenix. They starve our school of funds and then blame our schools for struggling. Isaac was driven to $28 million of debt, and now we have an unelected state receiver who has held this district hostage without a way out. Their solution to budget shortfalls is to shut down our local schools and scatter our kids to the wind. This is defunding by design, and Arizona's legislature has put caps on our school funding, archaic laws from 1980 that limit how much money we can give to our schools. I say we abolish that. We need to actually start introducing legislation that increases the budgets for our kids, that can fund actual improvements to our infrastructure to serve the needs of our kids in the 21st century, growing technological demands. But we're bound by rules from 40 years ago, and that is unacceptable. Meanwhile, charter schools and private schools, they're not bound by all these limits. They're not bound by all these rules. The wealthy can fund these pet projects with millions of dollars without any scrutiny whatsoever. But our schools here that serve our communities, they're the ones getting the run first. And I just don't think that is fair in any form whatsoever. So it's important that we as a community, the board, we work together so that we can actually improve the legislation and fund our schools for the better of our working communities here in Phoenix. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mary Radcliffe.
Good evening. Some of you probably don't want to see me, but that's okay. I just have a couple of things that I've lived, you've
Can you
listened.
put your
everything
microphone
you have.
closer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I heard everything you've said, and you're very doing the job the best you can do, and that's all right.
Yeah, sorry,
Right.
we can't hear you.
Stop it. Hello? Hello. Okay.
Can we start the time again real quick? Because we couldn't hear her. Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I've been in this district for, well, until I retired, 33 years. And I saw every one of these buildings built and things happen to them. Okay. And I was in some of the time with the contractors doing all the working of these buildings. So, but I want to say is particular about PTCO. I foot down in this district at Co. Okay. And, it had the most kids in the district. And many of them, if you close coal, you will leave kids beyond common on the street above there. You will lead them to the other district. I can tell you. So you're going to lose kids. So you must think of things like that. It's dense because they are used to being over, and it's not, they love this place. But that's your job, not mine. I'm just telling you two things I'm concerned about. And I built Moya. Thanks. So I'm getting kicked out of twice. Sorry. So, and this built it. I built this build. Those contractors and I went and built these builds. Because I left Coe and I went up to the district office. And I got all of the fun trades of working at everything in this district. So I'm just concerned about many things. And you will have kids that you will lose. And you don't have a lot now, but you're going to leave some if you do, especially at Co. So, and I want to just tell you, this is a terrible, hard time things to do. I know that. And I hope you do the best you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nicole Savala.
Good afternoon. Before I read my letter, I just want to say that I'm a little upset and a little nervous at the same time. I've been in this district for 25 years, and even though you guys took off the tabling, I still feel like my letter should be read. Because being here 25 years, I've seen this done too many times. Where we don't hire the people that are within that can get the job done. And not to be disrespectful to any candidate, but they don't last more than 1 or 2 years. And that's facts. At Pueblo del Sol, other than the great Armando Chavez, who has stayed that long? Pueblo has suffered a lot through many principals that did not stay. And that's just the truth. So again, I just wanted to put that out there before I read my letter. I am writing this letter in hopes of reconsideration of electing Abel Flores as the principal of Pueblo del Sol Elementary. Mr. Flores wants to reconsider for the position, and he is surely what the staff, students, and the community need. Abel Flores is a product of the Isaac School District, and he wants to be here. He is very proud of his alma mater, and his heart is here working with all of us. I think bringing someone new on the top is not only unfair to Mr. Flores, but to the students and to the staff. We have a candidate already here who's dedicated and is capable of being the principal. He has already taken the role of principal when our current principal went on leave, and now as she starts her transition to her new job. Mr. Flores recognizes what PDS needs. He also knows our strengths and weaknesses. The best and only candidate for the job is Mr. Flores, someone who loves Pueblo. He has shown his passion and commitment to building a better future for this school and the staff. Pueblo, our students and families do not need an outside candidate. We need our very own great leader, Mr. Flores, as the principal at Pueblo del Sol. With over 50% of our staff leaving and all the chaos that we have already been through this year, we need Mr. Flores more than ever. It will give current staff and students the security of consistency, familiarity, and trust. We can trust that he will make the right decision. Trust that he cares for all of us. Trust that he will communicate and get staff input. And trust he and staff will work together for our students and on our school to be successful. So on behalf of the majority of our staff and our students and families who signed letters and signatures, we ask that you reconsider and make Abel Flores our principal at Pueblo del Sol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Latrice Williams.
Can you say it?
Latrice Williams.
I'm sorry. Trace Williams.
Hi, my name is Latrice Williams.
Give me 1 second. She's gonna come and put the microphone. Thank you.
And I'm here tonight just as a parent, but as a voice of Pueblo del Sol, a community deeply disappointed and disheartened in recent decisions regarding our next school appointment. Now, outside of this paper, you guys have heard it, you've read it, but to not table the decision shows us that you're really not ready to be the board. It was, you don't take into consideration, or you didn't look at our petitions. And I understand that you're here to represent us, but it seems like to me when I'm listening to you, you're representing yourself. And we need a board who represents the people. So, Mr. Flores is not wanting just a job title, but he is also about our children, about our trust, about his hard work and build for years and instability, and keeping a leader what already understands our heart of the school, to Mr. Flores. 2 years ago, our school went through a very difficult and unleadership failed to meet the needs of the students and families and staff. And Mrs. Cohen arrived and brought healing and vision and respect, and standing in the right side every step the way of Mr. Flores, her assistant principal, our children mentor, and bridge between the families and staff. Now Ms. Cohen is stepping down. It only makes sense to have someone who understands her values, who already knows our children, our culture, our changes, and who earned the trust of everyone on campus. That person is Mr. Flores. And so when you made your decision and you checked your boxes, did you consider his work that's already been done? It doesn't make sense to me. The decision feels like a step backwards. It feels like another moment where the voices of those closest in the classrooms and the parents and educators, the kids are ignored. We are not protesting blindly. We're here to say we are stability, we want leadership, we want rooted in our reality, and we want Mr. Flores.
Any final comments?
We're respectfully demanding transparency, and we're asking that you revisit your decision and remember the schools that built the resumes and built the relationships and respect in the community and trust.
Do you
Mr.
have
Flores
any
already
final?
embodies all
Excuse
these
me, your
things.
time is up. Any final comments? Your 3 minutes are up. Any final comments? We have to move on. Do you have any final comments? Your 3 minutes are up.
Mr. Flores,
Okay, thank you.
you should have considered him.
Thank you. Do we have any more calls to the public?
Madam President, that concludes the open call to the public.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have our enrollment, 5,000 students. Our calendar, May 21st, 8th grade promotion, May 23rd, last day of school, May 26th, Memorial Day, offices will be closed. Our next governing board meeting will be June 12th at the Isa School District office. And if there are no objections, meeting adjourned. Thank you.